Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, the roots. Go to the roots, to the roots. Yeah, man, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, no matter how them try run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Subscribe now.
I remember the days, all those years ago that never fade away. And I remember your face when you hit the ground. I can recall the time and place on the midnight walk through the old streets, trying to turn back the clock to the days of old, back to the days when all the things we knew were made of gold. As the world moves on, time sings a song. In the old neighborhood, as the clock strikes one, the memory lives just as.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afridamus Report. I'm your host, Afridamus. I want to welcome all of you to this Sunday edition of the Afridamus Report. I see people are already in the house. Thank you for coming in. G Black, he started off right with the $5 super chat, then $10 super chat. By all means, ladies and gentlemen, hit the super chat, hit the like. He said, Liberia, District of Azania, Hebrew. I know exactly what you're saying. Salom boy, Kuse Ayubadi. Choko, welcome in the house. Astros, BLT, everyone. I want to say hello. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys remember a couple shows ago, we talked about the lady, Adama Diallo, from I guess Guinea, because of the way she spells the name, right? And she's also a Fula, meaning she's from the Fula tribe. So we're gonna, touch on that because I want Africans to understand like the dynamics and the culture of the United States. A lot of these things, like people, especially like, certain groups like black people, a lot of the things they are going to come and tell you is not going to be true, as you can see in this case here. Because clearly, if you look at the laws of the United States and how things go, don't go by what people say to you or what they cry about. You would see that blacks here in America are a protected group because the case studies, this case study here proves that. And I have been saying it, and nobody, like people are like, oh, you're bringing division. They said, tell your friend the truth should not stop the friendship, it just tightens the friendship. I remember when people used to come and say, oh, like the Pan Africans, they would say, let's unite. I always ask, what is the unity about? I'm genuinely curious because, see, I'm a realist. I don't live in the world of like make believe or wishes, how I wish, the world would be, and then the script that you wrote, you walk out into the world and, like you find different characters. They are definitely not part of that script. Then you become very disappointed. My question today, we are going to go, we, you know, we're going to talk about the one drop rule, for instance, one drop rule. And should Africans, because I'll give you the history of how the one drop rule came about here in the United States. It's not like the black people themselves decided this, you know? It's just like today in America, it's no different, right? They've passed a laws. They can saying a man can become a woman. That doesn't mean it's true. So it's no different. In fact, how the one drop rule came about is no different than a man saying he's a woman. And then they take it to court and challenge it. And then now, boom, even if the judge denies it, other people come and they're like, oh, it's so inhumane to not, comfort this individual because, they said they are a woman, but you keep thinking it's a man. That's what this is. And you will see what I'm about, when I broke it down. So now, when this woman, quote unquote, because in America, how it works is as long as the court says this is what it is, even if it doesn't make sense, you know, but in America, somehow, they're because everything is legal, they're like, hey, if the court declares this, then that's what it is. So you would find black people, you know, um, saying they, the blacks, have fought for something, a certain law to be to go into effect. But then another flip side, they argue against that law. So it's like, okay, it's different from old traditions, old world. We are coming from old traditions from Africa. If you are from Africa like me, you're from, a cohesive family, tribe, clan, village, you, you know, you have a history no outsider have given you that identity. You did not go read it in a book. A judge did not sign you into existence. So there's a complete difference. This is like, like your ethnic group is your ethnic group. So this is why sometimes when I hear these blacks, they talk about, oh, you're all African, practicing tribalism. You don't know what tribalism is. If I say I love my tribe, that doesn't mean that it's not like black and white, like in America, like literally in America here. So, it's like a badge of honor for a black person to express that they hate a white person, literally. So to me, that's strange. Like, like I am who I am, my tribe, you are who you are. I don't need to hate you or have any type of feeling. You can exist, we all coexist. And, so Africa, most of Africa have been like that for Lord knows, however long, you know. So you would find several tribes in different areas, and all these tribes, they have their language, they have their own culture. And I've even heard, black person who says they are Pan-African or whatever, they say they read some book. Now all of a sudden they know our tribal history more than we do. They don't even know our language, but they know us more than we do ourselves, right? They would say, oh no, those languages are just, they would make up something like, oh, it's just, they are similar. But how do you know? You can't even speak this language at all. Like, um, it's clear, like if you are an Igbo person, for instance, you only know Igbo. Somebody is Yoruba and that's the only language they know. Like, they can't, it will be hard for them to communicate. So tribe is not just a color to say, okay, like you wake up one day and say, I'm a blood, or like force them to accept you in, like this is people's ethnic group. It's like telling a Chinese person, forcing them to accept you as Chinese. All right. I mean, sure, you used to be Chinese, but now you're no longer Chinese. So I was thinking about it. I said, because the one drop rule argument, I saw it on CNN the other day. I was like, huh, this is crazy. Like, I thought about it. I said, wait, so it means the slave law, because it's like black people themselves are fighting to maintain the one drop rule. Like, what if I tell you how this came about is gonna blow your mind. So there was a debate between a CNN contributor, like two CNN contributors. They are, you know, um, of different political persuasion. One, slightly supports Trump. The other one, she's fully Kamala. So, if you guys were following American politics, you know, so the last election they made it, everything in America is like it's skin color, identity politics. During Obama's time, I used to hear black and brown, right? Because Obama, his policy, he was going to, because, like they have the DACA program. These are people who, there's many people from Mexico and these other South American countries who came here probably as children. Like their parents brought them over through the border. So they grew up here. Like, so now they were like, okay, these people, the Democrats, as usual, the Democrats are looking at these people as, future voters. So if they help these people, it's a group of them, it's a lot of them. If they use the government tools to change the status of these people who have already grown up here, but they're pretty much American, but they do not have the documentation to say this person is an American, so that they can pursue the American dream. So they came up with the DACA program. What's the first thing they did? They did like a political alliance. They started with the slogan black and brown, black and brown. But in reality, out there, like as far as I see, like look, I'm out there, I interact with people. Yeah, like some Mexican or Hispanic people. There's some who get along with blacks, but the culture is not the same. It's people are from elsewhere. So I used to find it weird that how, a program that is set up for, people who are immigrants for them to become citizens, why are black people who are citizens of the United States joining that group to help those people have more, you know, more power than them? So that used to blow my mind. So that's why when I hear black people come online now, this is the new line. Oh, we opened the doors for you Africans. Well, thank you. You opened the door, but I have never seen any protest, or there's no bill, no law in place where they said, like for example, DACA, how black people join the brown to push that through. Black people were used and they voted for it. So for the border to be open, the same thing. But there is nowhere, I haven't seen any bill, any law ever, or any movement that was pushed to say, bring those Africans here legally. Because black people say America is a racist place against black skinned people. So then it wouldn't make sense to say, let's bring the Africans in. And I know some confuse it. They say, "Oh, we have our embassies. Our taxpayers pay for embassies." Well, African countries have embassies here too. It's vice versa. And when people are coming here, they pay for visa fees. It's not free. So the relationship have been, when they speak of Africans are portrayed in a charity case. But when you don't accept that, now there's a problem. And I've been telling people, I say, you see how, like, the Karen effect, you know, people were on social media. Imagine this, like, what kind of individual would celebrate someone losing their livelihood just because what that person said, it has nothing to do with you, but you feel like it hurt your feelings. No, it's not what that person said. There's something within you that you need to fix, because if you're celebrating that, there's a problem. There is a problem. So now that Adama Diallo, the nurse practitioner, last week we did the show. Remember the Pookie show? I keep telling people, stay away from this type of people. Okay? Charlie Gavin said, damn, instead of blocking me, Tariq voice. Nah, we're not blocking you. So, you know, um, she got into it with this, uh, with two, you know, ghetto people. I mean, because you can hear it. And if you notice, in this country, in America, how come it's only black people who, they're the only ones you hear about making noise on social media? Either they are getting a white person fired because they said the person said something racist, or made some gesture and said was racist. So they're the only ones that do it to everybody else. And I remember I told you guys, they are going to do it to you as an African. If you're in higher position, they can accuse you of, like, discrimination, because the blacks are a protected group. I keep telling you guys, they are a government protected group. If you notice, even on in the media, when a politician challenges a black person and expose their lie, a white person, that white person gets in trouble. Think about it. For example, you as an African, they've lied to you, telling you, oh, we are allies, we supposed to. But no, the blacks can accuse you of discrimination because the blacks are a protected group. Just like you'd see the first thing these two went to that nurse's place. What did they do? What did you see? I've been telling you guys that here. And for me, it's like, it's not about hurting people's feelings. I'm just telling you, giving you guys the game, the truth, what is going to save you. Okay? Because you came all the way here, you worked hard, you know, and things that's gonna cause you to lose it, you need to watch out for that. And I'm helping you right here. I used to see the trend on on Twitter at one point, because see, in America, even in America, it's a caste system. It's a caste system. This caste system have been in place, like, I mean, this is medieval. It was in Europe, and it still is there. India, China. It's just people are beginning to be way more open because they are learning about each other. But the caste system is a real thing. It's ancient, okay? And in every caste system, for example, the reason why I'm now I thought about it, bringing the caste system. Now you would see how this connects. You guys are gonna say, Afridamus, what are you talking about? So first, When you come here in America, pay attention, pay close attention. Who who can talk, who can say whatever about every group and nothing would come of it? And they are still protected by government. Who has that power? Who has the power? Nobody else. Okay? This is not anyone telling me from experience, and I learned it even in this Americans, in the school books here. In the school books, it's a hierarchy. The white man is at the top, then you have the white woman, okay? Then you have the black male, the black female, but now the black female have, they've changed, they've reversed the group. Now the black female is below. No, the black man is below the black female. Okay? They've changed it. In case you haven't been paying attention, who who they put in place as mayors, judges, and government positions, right? So it means the blacks belong to the democratic plantation. I mean, like, guys, if I'm lying, go right now on YouTube, even on mainstream media. Do you not see black people, black celebrities making videos insulting the other blacks for, getting out of line, meaning, you know, you're gonna step out of masses plantation? And what is that followed by? They remind the blacks of their protective status under the Democrats. I mean, so when you go to a place, especially an advanced society like America, you need to pay attention and learn about these things because these are very important. So so when people like this Diallo lady, she thought, okay, I'm just gonna argue with this guy. We all know, like, yes, what she said, she was trying to hurt his feelings, just as she he did the same thing to her. But the biggest controversy of it all, what did they say? They said this lady needs to be fired because these Africans, how dare this African? They didn't just say her, they don't even care about finding out about her country, but they're painting it as African because they said if no enemies exist within, none will be outside of you. So when you see somebody jumping on things, that means they formulated the hatred already. So they are looking for an excuse. So white people learn, the white Karens learn that, you know, um, there are people out here in America who are of the black persuasion, will we they don't believe in freedom of speech. They only believe it for themselves. They would turn things around on you and get you fired, or you lose your life in your livelihood, and they will celebrate it, as you would see here in a moment. So the white women are now, they're like, hey, let's stay away from these people, don't even talk to them. Now, guess who is the next victim on the chopping block? The African. You do not become this lady. Last week, when I did the show was about the type of media bias orchestrated by the people that tell you they're pro African, but how biased it is. So now you're going to see Phil is about to celebrate. They even did a follow up to make sure this lady is fired. Let me show you that quick before we get into slavery, caste system, and colonialism. And I ask the question, why should Africans follow the one drop rule from Plessy and Ferguson court case. You know, Plessy was literally a white man, but they said he was 1/8 black. He has 1/8 African. Then all of a sudden that makes him black. Imagine that. What happened to his other mix? So you will see, even in this situation with Kamala, that's where the confusion comes in. You and I, who are African, imagine they bring Kamala in front of you in your country, tell you she is the same black as you. But in America, Plessy v. Ferguson, that court case which brought about the one drop rule, I will tell you that in a moment, but let me bring you the update on Adama Diallo. And let's hear from the propaganda wing of the, FBA news network, the, self-disguised as friend of Africans. Let me do fair use here, and you guys would hear their celebration. You would think Adama Diallo is a white supremacist, like a KKK member. So here we go.
We want to give an update to a story that we have covered right here on the podcast of a situation happening in Columbus, Ohio, with a West African nurse practitioner by the name of Adama Diallo. Well, she had a confrontation with some brothers and sisters here from America, and the confrontation just got way out of hand. Adama, especially since she's licensed.
So, guys, pay attention to what he is saying here. Okay, last time his report and what he's about to tell you here, so he would place you as the position that you really are in, which is a foreigner, right? So you are equivalent to the white supremacist. You've worked hard. His tone is going to completely change. So pay attention to what he's saying here and learn from it.
Just went too far. If you have not watched the original video, maybe you just coming for the first time, let's go ahead and roll that original video. What caused a lot of the issue.
Your ass back to the slavery. Put your ugly. Get out of the boat, you ugly slave.
Talking about you talking about a prostitute bitch. You got some booties with some tap dance shoes.
So, you know how they tell you, oh, Afridamus, this is only on the internet. Only on the internet. Okay? Even the favorite music here, when I play it, people are like, oh man, that's just in the past. You guys remember this music?
I can do some shuffling too. Look out, man, what you gonna do? Look out, boys, it's coming through. Yeah, man, yeah, man. Boy, he got...
So, for those of you that are not familiar with tap dancing shoes, those men there with those educated feet, when they put in the video saying, oh, you got tap dancing shoes, that's what he's referring to. So, guys, seriously, pay close attention to this so that next time when you don't even allow this to happen, okay? Don't buy into that blackity black stuff. Or when you see, look, it's like blood, it's like shark that is looking for blood in the water. You think a lot of those people, they are hating on those nurses just simply because they are white? A hater would find anything, any excuse to hate on someone. Okay? So all these people, they are doing all this reporting, but they ignored what that guy said to the woman. To see that a grown man goes to someone else's practice and to instigate it. So, mostly women are very emotional. So it's like, doesn't it seem like it is two women fighting? Two women fighting, right? So clearly the guy, you know, 9 out of 10, he is raised by a single mother. It shows in his attacks and behavior. So you would think, you know, a responsible group of people would say, oh, um, yeah, this is very embarrassing for one of our men, because that's how they do it as a group. Who would say, if this guy was from any other place other than here, if he's from another country, he's behaving like this, those people would be embarrassed. The responsible people would never ever support him. They would never support his behavior. They won't condone it. But is that the case here? No. The first thing that Phil did, the first thing he did, he dog whistled on his media. He told his media where the woman is, what state. I'm not just saying, I'm not, saying you guys should call. No. But now his tone changed. So you Africans better wake up and smell the coffee. Here we go.
You are a slave. Get the out of my place. You are a slave. Look at you, a dog. A dog, you live.
But you see, she called him, she's like, you are a slave, right? Like we hear people here on the internet, literally, there's a group that call themselves American descendants of slaves. There's a group. And Tariq's group, people subscribe to all that. I get it. The woman said it in a vitriolic way. Vitriol. She had vitriol because they are in a fight. This is what happened. If you roll down the ground with pigs, don't be surprised when you get dirty. She met him at his level, which she is wrong for it. She's wrong for it. He went in there, he called her, referring to her as a prostitute. Imagine that, right? I'm not sure what started it, whatsoever. But if you have trouble like this in your place of business, I'm telling Africans right now, do not waste your time standing out there trying to argue your way with people like that. Call the police. Simple as that. Tell him to leave and call the police. You see? So the fact is, the woman, most of the blacks said, oh, she said we are slaves. And they are very upset. That brought us to the caste system. The caste system. And I would explain that when the time comes. But here, let's go.
Living on kiosks, living on people's tax money and coming here and giving
You
people.
man.
Get your out and go and get yourself a job. Bitch. All of you guys, you are
Beach.
Yeah.
All of you guys, you
Yeah.
beach.
Yeah. Get out.
Do you guys remember when I was telling you guys, other Africans were like, you would face, like what the blacks consider to be racial, someone calling you something that's supposed to refer to downgrading you in a racial way against African, you would hear that from, black person in America before a white person, ever. Oh, they're like, oh no, that's not true. Oh, we love Africans. But I love 2024. It's right in front of you in the internet, being displayed. You've watched streams online, you've heard people talk this way towards Africans. You know, making monkey sounds, mimicking Africans. It's called projection because that's how they see themselves. So they project that negativity onto you. So you guys are hearing it here. So I hope this would be a lesson for all of you. Protect your hard work. Protect your hard work. Arguing or fighting with someone like that, it's not going to get you anywhere. Just tell them to leave. Simple as that. Stay away from areas like that as well. I've been telling you guys, you haven't been listening, but we're seeing the results. Here we go.
Get out! Get out of my place! I'm not gonna get you. Yes. Oh yeah, you are on quesos. Who knows what the heck you doing?
You right.
Quesos,
You right. You right.
You Negro.
You right.
You are a Negro. Look
right.
at you.
You
Coming from both.
You
Both
right.
people ask at you.
You right.
Go get your ass and get yourself a job.
You right.
That was the video that really went viral. There was a lot of reactions to this, and some people are reporting about the after effects of this, and some people kind of putting out some misinformation with this. So I want to make sure that we put out the right information. So with her license, her license is now went inactive. She had a license for nursing and nurse practitioner with the state of Ohio, and that nursing license kind of went inactive as of yesterday. Is what was being said. I actually looked it up. It is inactive. No, I'm not going to put it on.
So this is your so-called, he's going to call you your cousin, is your so-called African person. If a white person, if it was reversed, a white person is the white media doing this, even searching to make sure, in fact, yeah, the license should be inactive. Wouldn't they call that person a white supremacist? So they are practicing cancel culture on Africans. Don't be fooled. I'm telling you. This woman better be an example for all of you that are watching. Oh, you thought it's actual white? No. You notice, have you ever seen any other group being able to report a black person of any status for them to lose this? It's only black people or LGBTQ people, women, that can do this to you in America. I remember I was watching a show, the Diner Show. There was an African woman there, and she was talking about, how she was being treated horribly by her fellow black, co-workers that she was working with. And the people that came on the show, the Pan-Africans, quote unquote, they were laughing at her, making fun of her, right? Just, total disregard. So total hypocrisy. Like absolutely no problem to display it in front of everyone. And then they turn around and tell you, they want you to believe that there is white privilege. White privilege. You're able to cause white people to lose their job. They're scared of expressing, telling you the truth. They will get in trouble. That means you have the privilege. But you can say whatever you want. You can get people fired. That means you got the privilege card. You see? So, you see the African lady, she's African, she's black. If the skin meant something, why is she being treated like a white supremacist then? You see the drift here? So next time you find yourself in this type of situations, be professional. That's all I can tell you. Here we go.
The screen, because that'd be kind of like doxing, and I'm not going to do all that. Even though it's a public record, I'm still not going to do this in this video. But inactive, it said at the bottom that it was no board action. So the nursing board didn't actually put her license inactive. She did it. Now, I read up, nurses say don't put your license inactive because when you want to go back to it, it takes a long while, a lot of times, to get it back active again. So what ended up happening after this video went viral, she had 2 contracts with her place of business. That was her place of business. And she immediately lost those contracts like that. Lost them. So that was her money.
So remember the Pan-African relationship? So Africans, you see in the Pan-Africanism you're receiving in America. You see how you see how excited he seems? Oh yeah, lost that contract, all her money. Sounds like envy to me, but let's continue.
That was good money she was making off of those contracts, gone. That 59-second video that you going back and forth with people, you ruined years and years of work. You come from West Africa because she is, okay, first people will think, well, is she Somali? No, she's this. It's safe to say that she's Fulani, West African Fulani, right?
So Phil's last video, he dog whistled the people, encouraged them to, flood, call. He did his, grifting. So now that he's achieved his mission, now he followed it with this one. If he was someone who was sincere, he should have, this is what he would have been saying. This is what he would have been advising and saying, you came from West Africa, you worked hard, you should be thinking ahead. Don't engage with people like this. But let's listen how he changed his tone now that they've achieved their goal.
Go look up the Fulani people on Google. They look just like her. Okay, in the continent.
So the Fulani, talking about Fuller people. So in the Fuller culture across West Africa, the caste system is strong there, just like in my tribe. I have talked about this many times. People who don't like the position they would find themselves in this caste system are upset. They don't want to hear this. Okay? They don't want to hear this. So, in fact, I have a video, next one I'll play, from my, good friend, Happy Companion, Hey, Happy, your video finally made it on the Afrodamus report table. So we will break that down. We will talk about Toubab. What is the meaning of Toubab in my country? Because some of you, they say Muzungu or Akata, But it looks like some people are upset to say, oh, if you call me a Toubab, that means it's racialized or disgusting. No. That is a badge of honor. If you're called Toubab, hey, you're gonna get good treatment. I mean, if Europeans that are in the chat here that's been to Gambia or know about Gambia, you've been called Toubab. Is that a bad word? Put it in the chat. We will get to that.
Africa, I know people think that the Eritreans, Ethiopians, Somalis all have a certain look, but no, that look is in West Africa too. So especially that last name Diallo, that's a West African name. So this the deal. And let me talk to some of my distant cousins out here, because a lot of my distant cousins, man, y'all are really upset about what happened. Y'all said.
So guys, do you hear this? So Phil wants to call Africans his cousins. You see the mental gymnastics? Phil and Tariq and others, they're going to take you through. Yeah, absolutely. His cousin. He's now calling you his family. Is this how one treats their cousin? Come on, guys. So this is all fake.
that it was just because she was African, that's why this happened. No, it's not that just because she was African. Ask how many white people, Asian people, Hispanic people.
We know. We know. You guys did it to every other race. And he's got, yeah, every other race.
Even other Black American people.
Yeah, if they are not part of if they don't support the plantation party, yes, they will go after you too. So
have done things like this and had the same backlash. You are not different than anybody else. Now in your homeland, maybe you can crash out like that and there's no issue, no problem. But you come to these United States of America, you're gonna have to follow the culture of the country. And
guys, remember what I used to say over here? And some of the blacks would come and get upset. Oh, the Africans are sellout. Phil just told you when I used to say, learn about the American culture. You know, there's the Black American part and there's the white American part. So you must choose which one favors you. Okay? But I can assure you, you know, the likelihood of you having this issue with white people is slim than none. Yes, it's slim than none. I'm not saying it will never happen, but from experience, you know, because white people are not walking around looking to antagonize people so that they can lose their, you know, their livelihood, their hard-earned jobs, just walking around mad, you know, looking for whose, you know, prestige am I gonna, you know, yank today. Okay? So here we go.
Culture country says professionalism. What she was supposed to do in that situation, I'm gonna go with, let's say he just was just being belligerent. He started it. Let's go there. Let's just go there. She was supposed to say, sir, ma'am, I'm gonna need you to leave because I can't serve people that's being rude. So you need to leave. If they would not leave, then you just call the police and say, hey, I have people here, ask them to leave my business. Could you get them to leave the business? The police would have showed up and said, hey, they telling you to leave. You don't leave, I'm gonna put trespassing charges on you. That's the way you handle that. Why would you come way from West Africa, come way to America? You've been working in this field for a long time, ma'am. You first got your license in 2013. So it's 2013, okay? You've been doing this, 11 years. You've been working all these years, at least when you got your license. Prior to that, you went through all that school. All that school. You got the nurse practitioner license, in 2022? So you stepped your game up. All that hard work that you done, ma'am, and you literally crashed out when it didn't even matter. But see, this is the thing. Let me tell you about people in general. It's just not her. When you say certain things in your house and you get mad, it'll come out because you can't fake no more. You see, the reason why she started calling him a slave, because that's what they say in her household. I'm not saying all African immigrants say those things, but that's what she said. Now, some people say, well, y'all call yourselves slaves. Not in that derogatory term, we don't.
Here we go with that hypocrisy. It's like the N-word. They put it in rap songs. People hear them call each other that. And then when somebody else says it, it's like that one rapper, Kendrick Lamar. He had a song with the N-word in it. So they're singing it. You know, he wants his fans to sing it, and a white girl sang it. He singled her out for saying it. Like, you put this song in. I don't know why white people would not boycott, you know, that type of hypocrisy. So, oh yeah, he's saying, oh yeah, you know, we know you know, our ancestors were slaves. We cannot deny the logic. But the way she said it, you see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing as racism. The goalpost keeps moving. If the person who is perpetrating, saying they are the victim, and they feel like they have the power to decide the severity of things or what the meaning is, like this is what you would get every single time. You see? So like he is saying, no, it's not a problem. Yes, we do call ourselves slaves, but it's the way she said it. It's the way she said it. Oh, when we say it, it's a term of endearment. But when you said it, when she said it, it was painful. What are you, fragile? What are you, a Karen? I thought the Karens were supposed to be the ones that are fragile. But let's hear this part.
No. She was saying it. She kept calling them dogs. And then when she said the N-word, listen, if she would have just said the slave thing, dog, cussing them out, it just would have been okay, they got into it. But what crossed the line was when she started saying the N-word.
Guys, do you buy this? Every person was more triggered by the slave labeling. The slave one. But remember when Joe Biden one time told the blacks at a meeting and said, if y'all vote for Donald Trump, he gonna put y'all back in chains. Like, imagine somebody saying to you, they're gonna put y'all back in chains, and nobody challenged it. No one challenged it, right? But with, yes, I get it. I get it. Like this woman, right? There's no hate in her heart. She just, figured I'm tired of, these people coming over here every single time causing issues. I suspect this is not their first time over there. Okay? Whatever the case is, it escalated, and instead of her, kicking them out, she engaged, and now she's giving them what they want, right? So they're gonna make up all kinds of, sentimental videos about this, and then they're just going to ignore how this Pookie called this woman a prostitute, told her to go back to Africa. Then the blacks say that it's a racist thing? He said a racist thing to that woman. But I'm not seeing none of these people who are, especially, they would never pass up a racist moment. But somehow that racism does not apply to actual Africans. I keep telling you, Africans, we are put in the same category as the white people. Okay? As the white people. Because this woman is getting the white treatment from the blacks. Just FYI. Phil literally just told you guys. He just told all of us. Yeah, we do this to the white people too. Yeah, so you are white. It's not about the skin color. Her money is white money. So she better learn. Here we go.
With the hard R on it. When she says that, if nothing happens out of that, then white people come back and say, oh, you let me go for that, then give me my stuff back.
Oh, here we go. He said, oh, the white people are gonna, if we let this slide. So this is the old ghetto talk. Nah, we're doing this to you, to set an example, because if we let it slide, pretty soon those Mexicans over there, they're gonna come back and say whoop-de-whoop, whoop whoop. That's how they would explain it, right? What white person is gonna come back and be like, oh, yo, I can't believe this. You guys let that African woman, label y'all as slaves, even though black people keep putting out slave. I mean, not them per se, but like every black person you talk to, not every, but most of them, they are constantly reminding you of slavery, constantly. And this woman, I followed her. I went and checked on her, checked her page. She's woke. She supports the blacks and everything. So you guys better be careful what kind of agendas you supporting. She's a woke. She's woke. I bet you she probably put her business where it was at to help these very black people, because there are many black people around there. Most white people don't want to come and serve in the black community. She set up a nice, beautiful clinic. Look at how they repaid her. But here we go.
You know what I'm saying? They got it. Businesses are not going to work with you no matter if you're white, black, whatever. If you're out here hurling racial slurs at any group of people, even if it's another person of, that's black or African descent, they can't do that because they can be held liable. Let's say if this woman has bias in her treatment toward any black American people, and that company can be held liable for class action lawsuits, discrimination, all kinds. They had to act like that.
Look, those of you that are listening, yes, in a way, I get it. The switcheroo that Phil did, I get it. You probably don't like what he is saying, but sometimes, like, the messenger is telling you how they roll. So he's telling you facts here. So pretty much he's letting you know, we are a protected group. You guys aren't. Once you make it to a certain level, that's it. That's what he's letting you know. He's letting you know you ain't part of that group. So the ones that were telling you, oh, we all one and the same, now you hearing it from, the FBA media itself, disguising as African media.
Real quick, my thing is, if you come over here to America, you got to follow the culture of the country. If we go to anybody else's country as a black American, it's not about what I say. It's about what's the culture of the country.
I want you guys to remember this, right? So he said, follow the culture of the country. He's telling you the truth. When I said it here, the ones that tell you, oh, the Africans don't connect with us. They don't. What are you guys going to connect on? The country has a culture, doesn't it? There's a dominant culture that would work for you. Learn that culture. Okay? So, Chukwu, you're right. He said we need to hold the blacks accountable for anti-African racism too. Exactly. So, they're letting you know, where you are and where they are. So, I wasn't lying to you. And I wasn't being malicious. I'm trying to help people understand what the culture is.
And I know, because some of them was complaining, but let's call it what it is. I've been to African countries. The foreigner is not prioritized over the citizen in African countries.
So now all of a sudden, it's an American thing. Remember what I told you? These grifters, they become American when it's convenient. They become Indian when it's convenient. They become African when it's convenient. Okay? It just depends on whatever they want to be that day. So he is American now, or learn American culture. I've been telling people this. You see, he did not distinguish to say whether white or black. He said, learn the culture, American culture. So he's right about that.
Not. So there's no way that even people on the African continent would have put up with a black American saying that to their people, saying a derogatory slur to their people. They wouldn't put up with it. They'll be angry, mad, and they want your behind deported, and your behind probably would get deported by the authorities for the crap you're saying, because it's happened before.
We have seen, didn't we see Kati go to Gambia and disrespected Gambia people there? How many black American people have we seen in various African countries disrespecting the culture there? Didn't we see even a black American in Ghana accuse the police of racism over there? We've seen all that over on YouTube. So what is Phil talking about? I didn't see Africans get up and go after those people, you know. That's not what happened. We've even seen video of some old lady. You guys remember I did a video here over there in Gambia. She was going into people's, store, videotaping, taking their chickens, throwing them away. We've seen that happen. Did anything happen to her? No. Did the people come there and formed a mob and did anything to her? Absolutely not. But here we go.
For even the black Americans who run off at the mouth, or if anything, they feel like the heat on them and they just go ahead and leave on their own. We've seen these things over the years. So don't act like a black American can go to an African country and insult a person over there in a derogatory manner and everything gonna be all good. It's not gonna be all good, especially with that failed tribalism. We know that.
You see, with that failed tribalism. They want to talk about tribalism. They know nothing about it. Have you noticed everything, low? They try to make it low key, but the entire thing is to denigrate and insult African culture. They want to come up with things that they think is cool and attach that to say that's the African culture. How are you going to tell Africans about their own culture? So, yeah, it's over. Oh, yeah, that failed tribalism. What is failed about somebody, being who they are? Yes, if people practice tribalism, toxic tribalism, of course, that's negative. It's just like, people that go by, race, like most blacks are doing in America, between them and white people, basing everything on race. I mean, literally, like, people are telling people to vote for Kamala because they think she's black. That is racial. But I have never seen an African person, especially, to come to me and say, oh, we are voting for such and such because of tribalism. Exactly. It's like, how are you going to talk about tribes when you are not from a tribe? You don't even know the laws and rules of tribes. But here we go.
I know that. You know what I'm saying? So the lesson learned is be professional. Don't ruin everything you work for. That's really the story. It's not about who's African, who's not, or whatever.
You see, if Phil had spoken this way, sure, you would say, oh man, this guy is sincere. He's not pushing some type of anti-Africanism because he's, putting you on game. He would have reported, give you the report in a fair and balanced way. But no, it's because the backlash, because there are many young Africans on TikTok. They are not quiet about this. They are very upset, and they are making it known that the blacks are hypocrites. They come around, they want to say, oh, they're one and the same as Africans, but this is how they treat Africans. That's why Phil now change his tone because we can see it. We see the hypocrisy dead on.
Okay, let's call it what it is. Both of them was wrong. Both of them look silly.
Phil, you should have said that in your first report. You should have said that. But that's not how it was treated. You were dog whistling, telling the people to call the white man on that woman. That's what was said. But now the woman, you made sure she's in trouble, and now you come and say this. Here we go.
Both of them. It wasn't just her. It was, but see, this is the thing. When you have something to lose, you have to think before you speak. There's a lot I could lose by saying certain things on these microphones. There's a lot I could lose. That's why I don't say certain things. That's why I say, you know what? Let me be quiet. Or you know what? I may kind of hint at it, but I can care less what other people say. Oh, you just.
Man, who is this guy? What he is saying, he's not lying. Okay? He's not lying. But this should have been what he had said in the other video. That's what he should have said. Instead of, doing what he did, and now you want to give the real answer. Here we go.
Won't say it. If I want to say certain things, I'll say it on my app, the African Diaspora News Channel app. Even there, even though I have more freedom to say things there, I still have a limit on what I can say, because just because you have your own app or something doesn't mean that you can just say whatever you want to say without a consequence. And that woman didn't realize, or how do you sit here, come from West Africa, you're an immigrant, you work to get where you're at, and you lose it all behind an argument with a dude who's not even in your position.
Phil, what took you this long to say this? So now he wants to, make sense. Now he wants to speak the truth. Look, I'm the type, like, it's not like I'm personally, I have anything personal against Phil. No, I'm here to show you how you are being played, blackmailed. If he had said this from the get-go, the other video, it would have made sense. It would mean, okay, yeah, Phil, the relationship he, quote unquote, is claiming to have with Africans is real. He sees them as his cousins, so everything is good. But no, he called for her license to be taken.
Why? It didn't even make sense on her part to even argue with him. So to the African immigrants on TikTok that's complaining and mad and all that, no. She's the one that's silly in this one, because there ain't no way that I'm gonna come from West Africa, come over here, get some opportunities, work my way up all the way to nurse practitioner, and lose it behind arguing with them. Ain't no way. There's a lot of things that I won't do to mess up how I feed my family for none of y'all. Well, Phil should be doing this and Phil should be saying that. You go say it. You say it. That's how I feel about it. You do it. Don't tell me what I should be doing.
All right. So you guys see that? That was Phil. Phil backtracking, flip-flopping. Okay? The man is not consistent. If you, as an African, this is who you get your news from, you are being miseducated. Know this. His last video was very anti-African, as usual. Most of his shows is anti-African, and people are beginning to see this. This is why, Smart young Africans are talking about this on TikTok. Like Africans, a lot of I'm proud of a lot of you. Many are slowly catching up. They are slowly catching up. They are seeing the foolery in all this. So that was Phil's video. Um, so now let's talk about slavery, caste system, and colonialism. Um, I mean, this situation here, not everything about it should be looked at as negative, because a lot of stuff sometimes they spark, you know, um, conversations that are needed. Maybe there's a lot of confusions and people, you know, um, can have discussions. So my good friend, Happy Companion, he made a video. In fact, he sent it to me. So I decided to analyze it because there were a lot of things in the video that should be like edutative for people that watch this show. So when we talk about slavery, okay, caste system, like for example, some of the tribes, for example, like my tribe, I've talked about this. And when you discuss this, instead of people taking it as education, you know, learning about how the world really is, how it works, they get mad. They get upset at you as if you came up, with this practice. These are medieval practices. The caste system, have been in West Africa, especially like the Sahel region, and even in Nigeria, amongst the Igbos, they have the Osun tribe there, the caste system. Many cultures have the caste system, but in West Africa, most of it, like let's say this woman, she's from the Fuller tribe, and in their caste system, they have the nobles, which is the rulers at the top. At the top, then you have the intellectuals below the nobles. Then you have the cattle owners, wealthy people. Then you have the workers, and you have the slave, you know, at the bottom. So, in the caste system, how does one belong to any group? How does one belong to that? People are born into it. It's through blood. They are descendants. Okay? So back in those days, the people they have kingdoms. Some kingdoms they conquer other kingdoms. They acquire slaves that way, or some they buy slaves. They buy slaves for different reasons. They can buy them for the same reason the white man was buying slaves for their plantations in America. Um, like in the Oshun caste system, they were buying people as their slaves, either as their domestic slave, like doing their home chores, or as bodyguards. Because like a lot of people talk about the Moors, like the blacks. That's why I say people need to understand history. So like when they claim, oh, we were the Moors were slaves. They were Arab slaves. You see? So when you're speaking to someone who understands history, they see you calling everything you attach yourself to is slave history. When the person refer to you as that, you get upset. But before you get upset, learn about culture and know what the culture is. And like the Fuller tribe and even other tribes, even today, they maintain that culture, that caste system. Like if you're from let's say someone from the slave caste, your class is a slave. It doesn't matter how much money you have in that culture. you cannot marry someone in the nobility. Yeah, in the nobility, you won't be able to. The Indians practice it too. So the Indians even like, because there's a lot of Indians here, in the West Coast region, and somehow they want to maintain that caste system. So now, even when fill out applications, they've passed laws. They cannot maintain that here. They've tried to. They've tried to. So in America, for instance, America's history, we all know they brought slaves here from West and Central Africa. Africans were brought here. So now, according to those caste systems, the way one becomes a slave is you are a descendant of those slaves. And I've had these conversations with people. Many times I said, people that are talking Pan Africanism, when I try to speak about the culture, the caste system, because people were putting emphasis on the slave thing, and I'm saying if you are calling yourself that to these people, you would be looked at as part of the slave class. As part of the slave class. And people are like, no, no, no. And there's a difference between slavery and colonialism. No white man have colonized Africans in West Africa, no plantation. But there were Africans who were enslaved in West Africa. That would be Liberia. And that wasn't done. Their colonizers were in blackface. And people cannot run away from this. Because like that's not it, that's beyond colonization even. Because when you get to the level of changing the people's first name and last name, now you've become a slave master. You see? But in West Africa, yes, slavery was in existence for who knows, millennia, thousands of years. Okay? Thousands of years. And some cultures still maintain it. There are people who belong to the slave class in those caste systems. So the reason why I brought that up, because my good friend Happy Companion, he made a video and about this same case. And I'm gonna use this video for fair use, you guys, so we can break this down. And I hope my friend Happy Companion is watching too. Here we go.
Like a lad, you like you about to play away with carpet.
You prostitute. No, don't get out. They'll come get your ass
Bitch,
out
you
of
a
here.
prostitute.
Stay in here. Stay in here.
Stay where we
Stay
stay
in
in
here. Stay right here.
We stay
Stay
right here.
We are right here.
Prostitute.
Okay?
The
You
fuck?
see who you dealing with.
Who you dealing with?
Huh?
Look at you with your ugly ass. Take your ass back to Africa, Spain.
Your ass back to the
The fuck
slavery.
with your ugly ass.
You get out of the
fuck?
boat.
Fuck
Slave.
talking
You
about
are a
you
slave.
talking about a prostitute,
You
bitch.
are a
You got
slave.
some motherfuckers. Some
You
tap
are a
dance
fucking
too.
slave. You are a slave.
You
Look
a
at you,
slave.
a dog. A dog, you living on pesos, living on people's tax money and coming here and be giving
You mad?
Get your ass out and go and get yourself
Your
a job.
bald-headed ass.
You bitch. All of you guys, you. Get out.
You know?
Get out. Get out of my place.
Get out your
I'm not gonna get you. Okay? Not job, okay? Go find it and coming here and harassing people.
You
You
mad?
asshole.
I'm supposed to have Google.
Oh, yes. Pesos. Who knows what the heck you doing?
Hey, you right.
Pesos,
You right.
nigger.
You right.
You Negro.
You right.
You are a Negro.
You
Look
right.
at you.
She said,
Coming
"You are a
from
Negro."
both-
You
both
right.
people ask
You
niggers.
right.
Look at you.
You right.
Go get your ass and get yourself a job.
You right.
Look at you.
Man, this Fuller woman is wild. I mean, okay.
Cycles in the cycle, child. Slave for 400 years, but Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. So, yes, Africans were enslaved by the Europeans, but most were allowed to keep their culture, religion, and languages. But nonetheless, they were.
But you see, that's where I disagree with my friend Happy Companion. Um, I would hope he's watching so he can call, but you know, Europeans have never enslaved West Africans on the soil of West Africa. Yes, they've taken West Africans away, but um, no, they stayed in South Africa. Even South Africans were not enslaved. They were used as domestic workers and stuff like that, but they were not slaves. So here we go.
Still slaves. The Europeans didn't have the power to enslave entire nations in the way they enslaved Africans in the African diaspora. The so-called Jews of the Bible were enslaved for 400 years, but they still kept their language, religions, and cultures. Yet, they were still slaves, and the continental Africans are no different.
Now, the continental Africans had a caste system, and in that caste system, slaves existed, and but they were owned by whichever tribe is practicing that. Um, so I get it. Like sometimes most people from America they explain even colonialism through the lens of like slavery in America, but Africans were never enslaved on their own soil in West Africa. West Africa, like anyways, I'll stay off that.
So when Africans call the African Americans of the African diaspora slaves, they better look in the mirror and learn their history. In addition, I don't agree with this point, but whenever we talk about the African diaspora slavery, someone in the chat want to mention to us about the so-called Arab slave trade in which the Afro and pale Arabs enslaved Africans and converted them to Islam. Well, if this is true, Miss African Muslim, then you are a slave too.
I'm confused by this because Happy Companion himself is a Muslim. So if Africans that are Muslims were slaves of the Arabs, that's what made them Muslim, then why would then you shouldn't be mad at the slavery word. No, the Arabs in West Africa did not enslave the Africans there. Islam got there through trade. Um, like for example, like this book is showing plantation slavery in the Sokoto Caliphate, like Usman Damfodio and those people. Those were not Arabs. These were Hausa Fulanis. Um, so there's no territory that we can say Arabs have enslaved Africans in. Yes, they participated in the trans-Saharan trade. They bought and sold slaves. Even in the transatlantic slave trade, they were the middlemen selling people to the Europeans. But here we go.
Plus, you were Fula, and one of my Fula queens here in Gambia tell me that there is a Fula slave caste system where some groups of Fulas are in the slave caste level. Next point.
Yeah, this is true. That's what I was talking about, the caste system. He's correct about that. But now you see how that opened up a conversation for people to understand the caste system. I can guarantee you this woman is not of the slave class in their caste system. I bet you she came from the top. She's nobility at the top. She's not from there. But I don't think she was using the caste system code on the people, you know. So yes, there is a caste system. So you have to pick and choose. If you tell some people who believe in the caste system that you descended from slaves. They would always see you as that. If they are not open-minded and they rigidly follow that caste system, that law, if you tell them, you are of that stock, that's how they would see you. I didn't create it. I don't believe in it, but there are people that believe in this.
African Americans paved the way for African success in America. This is true. You can't deny this, even though you try to. They don't realize that the privileges and benefits that they have is due to the blood, sweat, and tears that we African Americans have did, such as the Civil Rights Movement, NAACP, the desegregation of schools and universities, black scholarship funds, financial aid, etc., the access to a desegregated military because of us, which helps Africans become U.S. citizens. Now you can get a VA home loan, a GI Bill educational loan payment, and other benefits.
Well, yeah, the first naturalization law was made because of the blacks here in America. So that's the same law that everyone uses, even anyone that comes from Europe today. You know, that's the same law, the 14th Amendment. So that's true. That the law that was first passed to make blacks citizens of the United States. But in the 60s, the civil rights movement, that wasn't about Africans coming here. Kwame Nkrumah came to school here. That was way before. Uh, that was way before the civil rights movement was enacted, because Ghana became independent in 1958. So he came here to school sometime in the 40s. There were other Africans that's been here. Even in the 60s, there were Africans here. The civil rights had nothing to do with them. They just continued going to school, just like today. You've got people out there, Black Lives Matter, marching. I mean, who's to say 10 years from now, Black Lives Matter is not going to come out? People who participated would say to some LGBTQ people and say, if it wasn't for us, no LGBTQ can come here. But LGBTQ people can already get married, since 2012 in this state that I live in. Zongo said, the Afridamus report, Kwame Nkrumah boarded the ship and landed in America for free. Yes. Okay, here we go. But here we go.
Basically, whatever the African American accomplished, you can now accomplish. So don't disrespect us, because we help pave the way for you and you don't appreciate it. The ones who think like Miss Diallo, I'm not talking about the majority of Africans who don't think this way, okay? You owe the African Americans some gratitude, because without us, you wouldn't have what you have. Our tax-paying dollars help pay for your immigration status. The U.S.
Is this true? Taxpayers are not the ones that pay for people's immigration status. I mean, hey, guys, Happy Companion is my guy, but I would have to correct this. Now, taxpayers do not pay for people's immigration status. You got to pay that yourself. You got to pay that for yourself. And I see that, like, he showed an African place looking like that, but anyways, yeah, every country, even Gambia, my small country, they have an embassy here in America, just like there's the American embassy in Gambia. It's vice versa. So the Gambian taxpayers pay for their embassy out here. American taxpayers do the same. If you come into America, it's not free. you have to pay money to the American embassy to come here. I mean, legally, legally. And also, oh, keep working, say, and 400 application is 1,500, no charity. I don't know what that is, but yeah, some people are already putting the price in. So, um, yeah, it's not free. It's not free. It's not charity being given to African people. Everyone pays to come here.
Embassies, consulates, and the workers that process your immigration visas is paid off for our taxes. Huh? Ms. Diallo.
The American embassy actually overseas makes a lot of money, from these various countries. Visa fees cost money. They make a lot. And you can pay for visas and not get the visa. Um, yeah, the American government pays the embassy. So just like the Gambian embassy that's here in America, the Gambian taxpayers pay for that. Governments pay for it. It's not a charity case.
And the ones who think like this, they don't realize that the benefits and jobs that they have is because of African Americans had them first, thus opening doors for them. We pave the way for Africans to succeed in America. Whatever advantages Africans have in America started with our sacrifices. I live in Africa and I see how life is here every day and how people are scraping to make ends meet off of $2 a day and begging to come to America for a better life. We so-called slaves are marrying your women, making babies and giving them better opportunities than they ever would have otherwise.
All right. So he said a lot there. He said, we are marrying your women. I would think if you go to Africa, you marry somebody, that's your woman. That's not other men's women. Okay. If this woman, who we don't know what country she's from, she might be from Guinea, but she's definitely not from Gambia. In Gambia, like, that is not the culture. Whatever woman you married, that's your woman. That has nothing to do with the rest of the population. Just a man who married a woman and taking care of your family. Um, that is not doing a favor to another person. That's your woman.
A lot of Africans come to America as refugees, some by fraudulent means and living off the system that African Americans laid the path for.
But African Americans did not come here as refugees. So refugees come in here, in a different status. This is what I'm saying. That's why I think there's a lot of misconception, that this conversation have opened up, which, like to say that, like, okay, for instance, a smart person, like people coming from Mexico, you share a border with a place, you're making 50 cents a day. And there's that place, all you got to do is swim and get there, and you can make, you know, um, $20 an hour, way more. And they have a law that allows you can come in and be a part of the system. What would a smart person do? Exactly. You move. Who says, nobody has the right to move? Because I know, like my friend Happy Companion said, oh, yeah, they paved the way here, but, for somebody to be able to immigrate to any other country, even if it's Gambia, there must have been people that paved the way and laid the foundation. It's not America, but people laid those foundations for those countries to exist. For people to be able to come get lands, be able to marry the women, all that. Somebody did that. So that's just how life is. America is not didn't want to be isolated, especially you know um, during the Cold War. Russia getting all this influence, they opened up the American market to the world, and Africans are part of the world. They didn't say you guys are coming here because of the blackness or you coming to take black jobs. None of that. None of that. And I would never condone or somebody disrespecting black people or vice versa. But if this video that we are talking about, and I mean, like, come on, my guy, Happy Companion, he knows he's around there with the Fullers. I mean, if he goes and play this video to those people and get somebody who knows Fuller and translate every word to those people, word for word, what that guy called this Adama Diallo, word for word, they're gonna be like, oh man, this is how your people are towards our women, especially Fuller. They don't play about that. So I think it's uh, people have to be open to the facts. It's not a dig at black people if say, oh, the it's not a dig to say it's not black people who signed the law for Africans to come here. No, everyone comes to America. It's the strongest economy, you know. But why do people speak in a way that they want Africans, not, they want people from Africa to crawl and kiss black people's ass? For what? People should respect one another, but nobody should be kissing anybody's ass. Like when people, oh, we paved the way. Which way? Most Africans that come here work in white companies. Those white people paved the way. White men signed into law that we are now going to open our borders. For example, right now the border is wide open. That's not the doing of black people. The white man wants those people to come in. They opened the border, they left it wide open. No one, people can't do anything about it. Let's just get factual. But now, when it comes to Africans, people want to move the goalposts. They want us to believe that, we should be, if people telling Africans, oh, if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't come here. What about the white people that built the place? They're the ones that are still in charge. Let's just be real. I just want all of us to get along, like instead of, thinking these things, let's get the facts. I'm not, you know, I'm not saying, oh, what this woman did is smart whatsoever, but that guy had it coming. Okay? He had it coming. Let's just be factual. People, you can't just walk up to people's place and, like start acting a fool. Not everyone is going to put up with it. Yeah, she did some, like she acted out of character, whatsoever. But I bet you that guy would never mess with her again. So here we go.
You don't call us slaves when you're begging us for money on the streets when we travel and live in Africa.
But see, that's what I'm surprised by, because my friend Happy Companion, he lives in Gambia, my country. This woman is not from Gambia. How did Gambia country come into this? Yes, there might be people. I've seen some beggars begging. Um, we have beggars here too in America. We have plenty of black beggars. I don't know how this video generated a dig at, the Gambia. I would think Happy Companion love Gambia. He's having fun. That's why he's there. But how did this video even make him taking a dig at Gambia?
You call us Zungus, Toubabs, in other words, white folks
Remember,
with money, access, and opportunities.
but you see, but Happy Companion is speaking in two terms here. He said they opened the door for Africans to get what they get. When you go to Africa, they see you as Tubab, Mzungu. Okay. Didn't Phil say when you come to America, you learn the law, the rules and laws of America, the culture? And that makes sense. In Gambia, when they call you Tubab, meaning white, that's not a bad thing. Who is a Tubab? A European, a Western? Or if if you're from America, you're lighter and you don't know the language, you're not from that culture. Sure, they would call you a Tubab, but that doesn't mean that's a bad thing, because that's why I say the one drop rule in America. In America, you could be black, but in other places, it's not. Okay. For example, in Gambia, if they think you're Tubab, that's a good thing. Any like foreigner from the Western world, meaning you're from the West, like it, but mostly attached to white people, and it's not coming from a place of hate. Like it's not like people they walking around saying, "Oh, haha, let me, haha, that's the tuba," you know, like tuba in fact means you get privilege. Okay, you get privilege. That's just the truth out there. So I don't know why anyone would see that as a bad thing.
You look up to us when we here. After living in the U.S. for a few years, you'll be one of us and we'll experience the same atrocities that we experience. In other words, you'll be just another nigger, despite your African name and languages.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm confused because he's saying people, they're in Africa, they admire the black Americans, but when they come to America, they don't admire them. Well, that means they've learned. Like if somebody admires something out of ignorance or someone, then they learn different. Like you can't blame them for that. So again, we become, he said, if you live in America, you become one of us, one other, Negro. Like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? You know, I'm confused. But here we go.
Remember, our ancestors were enslaved, and upon their arrival, their names were stripped from them and given European names. Well, the same thing is still happening today. When your name is Muhammad and they call you Mo, or your name is Miriam and they call you Mary, and you grin and bear while shuffling your feet and tap dancing. So, and this happens when you move to America.
Well, most people whose name is Muhammad, um, they call them Mo for short, even in Gambia. Um, People that I know that I have cousins whose name is Muhammad. People who have the name Muhammad are very proud of that name. The Gambians that I know, even the Africans, but they call them Mo for short. Even way before I ever came here, they've always called people who in Gambia, if their name is Muhammad, they call them Mo for short. Um, Mariam, um, most white people cannot say Mariama, or so they would just call them Mary or Mary, or same name. So I think there's a confusion there. Like um, the people, they are not changing their name. I promise you that. Trust me. Uh, it's not the same thing. Yes, there are Africans people. They might have a Christian name because they are Christian first name, or a Muslim name. But if you notice, Africans always maintain their last name because the last name is what is most important. because like the elders when they're greeting one another, um, they would call you by your last name. Like if you're, let's say Johnson, they'll be like, "Oh, Johnson, nice to meet you." Even here in the States, they'll call you the last name because your last name takes you to your history. So that shows that if you look at it, the African, especially like in Gambia, like they were never enslaved by outsiders because nobody gave them that last name. They they willingly wanted to be Muslim. They wanted to join Islam, and some willingly did it. So they take up Muslim names. But I'm confused because my guy himself is a Muslim. So I didn't know like it was a super bad thing to be Muslim or a slave. But here we go.
Another point. Does she know her history? Miss Adama Diallo, do you know your own history?
I can guarantee you, this woman being a Fuller, yeah, she knows her history. I think people like sometimes people confuse like, especially from America, black people are thinking something their history only started from slavery, but the people that brought their life started elsewhere in different culture in Africa. So if people, their ancestors were never brought to America, they would have a different history than the Africans who were brought to from Africa into America or the Caribbean. Their history changes from that point on. You know, so if a native African person doesn't know about Black American history, it makes sense they shouldn't know it because it has nothing to do with them. You know, they have their own history. This woman has got her own history. Fullers especially. Oh yeah, she knows her history very well.
Most likely, she's from Guinea. There's a miniseries on Amazon Prime called The Book of Negroes. Did you see this miniseries? Well, if you did, you'd shut your big mouth and would never call an African American a slave again.
It sounds like Happy Companion is very upset at this. Well, the Book of Negro had nothing to do with this woman's history. I mean, look, the guy is my guy. He's cool. You guys have seen us hanging out. But, I mean, doesn't he sound like he's very upset at this woman? I mean, I'm actually surprised. Like, he did not address the fact that, like, this guy calling a Fuller woman a prostitute. And, I mean, I think he said he's related to the Fullers. So the Fullers will not take this, too well. To be honest, like they will be very, very disappointed. And seeing the Book of Negro, that is, if that's written by a Black American, it has nothing to do with her history. Let's just be factual, because colonialism in Africa and slavery in the New World are not the same, because the colonial administration did not own the people. They didn't have that much effect on their life. It's just administration. It didn't last long for things to change. 86 Live, thank you for the super chat. He said, Afridamus, nowadays the continental African YouTubers, especially from Uganda, now responding to the black hate videos. Have you noticed? I'll check it out. Thank you for the super chat. G Black said, no Toubab name on our birth certificate. This is true. Thank you. Here we go.
The story is about a young Guinean Fula Muslim girl named Aminata Diallo who was captured, enslaved, and sent to America. Doesn't her name sound familiar, similar to yours? Does it sound familiar?
Well, that's possible. I'm pretty sure there might be people that shared similar last name, but still, that does not make this woman a slave, because this woman is not related to that person. She did not come from that genealogy, that line. You know, she is not from that line. Yes, she might be. There were Fullers who were sent into slavery, but what that woman has nothing to do with these people.
Was she from the same country as you? She was raped by her slave master, sold to Jews, beaten, whipped, and eventually returned to Africa as a Toubab. Are you a Toubab now? So, some more about her. Aminata Diallo, the daughter of a jeweler and midwife, is kidnapped at the age of 11 from her village in Bio, Niger. The miniseries said,
Does it sound like Happy Companion, my good friend, is trying to force Africans for Africans to to share slavery story too? Does it sound like he's forcing Africans to be considered slaves? I mean, I'm confused. If some, it's like saying, you know, Kunta Kinte was kidnapped from the territory called Gambia. So therefore, that has something to do with me. I'm not related to Kunta Kinte. It might be from the same territory, but you know, yeah. And psychological observer said that is from the book of Negroes. It's fictional. How crazy! Exactly. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure, but this has nothing to do with that woman. And this is why I want people, for us all, to have real conversation. Even the Akata thing, I don't know what that meant. And people from Nigeria, Ghana, they've explained it, but you have people who are not from those places trying to explain it to other people. I'm like, wait a minute. Shouldn't we be listening to the people from that place? It's like Toubab. I can explain to you what Toubab means because I'm from the place where that phrase is used. That's like, okay, the one drop rule in America. I respect the one drop rule, and if somebody say they have one drop and they prove it that they are black, hey, they are black. But where we come from too, in other countries, they have rules and regulations. For example, here in America, some black people, they even would, Indians from India, they would call them as part of the white supremacist group. Like they see them as white people. Some of them do. I've seen it. Or Asians, but most Africans, we know the difference between an Indian, a white European, and if you're a black individual, mixed, right? And when they call you Tubab, because we in Africa, we do have like, mixed people, mixed people. So if they call you Tubab, the only way if you're a mixed person, you're called a Tubab, meaning you're from the Western world. Your culture is the white people's culture. Like if you cannot speak the language in Gambia and you don't have direct immediate family, um, because your culture is not their culture, the people don't look like you. So if they call you Tubab, that means that it's not like a bad thing. They understand like you're not as white as the white people, but your culture is similar to them. So I would think engaging and understanding the mind of the people is best. Because in one of the videos, Happy Companion interviewed a Gambian guy. And he asked the guy, he said, if somebody, a black American, is the same skin color as the guy, the Gambian, he said, what would they consider that guy a Tubab? So, for example, he was asking, let's say, Wesley Snipes or Michael Jordan. So, like asking a Gambian, saying, is that a Tubab? Of course, he's going to say no, because Michael Jordan looks as dark as people back there. Or Wesley Snipes. They're used to that, right? But if you're lighter skin and you're not a fuller, you cannot speak any of the languages, then they would definitely call you uh, a Toubab. And Toubab is not a bad thing. Toubab, if they call you Toubab, hey, take advantage of those privileges, man. Like, if any Toubab is going over there, let me know so we can hang out. I need you to use that Toubab card so I can get more and more Toubab privilege. Why would anyone complain about having Toubab privilege? I don't get it. I do not get it. When you have that Toubab card, you get your drinks on time, cold and nice. They speak nice to you. They say hello to you. I mean, what's there to complain about? I would take it. I would take it. You guys see me. You see my American flag behind me. When they see my American passport, and I've said it here, some people were upset, but I guarantee you one day we would see another topic that would go viral about, you know, oh, we can believe how dare these Africans, using the American passport to get American privilege. There is different privileges in different parts of the world. You just gotta pick and choose where your privilege manifests. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I mean, like, if I go to a place where they call me, I don't know, if like let's say there's a country out there calling you African booty scratcher, the people that are called the African booty scratchers, they get all the privilege. No problem. Hey, you can call me that as long as African booty scratcher, it means those people over there, they get the privilege. No problem. Yeah, I can see if it's a negative word, but Toubab is not a negative word. I can assure you that. Spellcaster, thank you for the super chat. Spellcaster said, A1 to all my Africans. Afridamus, change of topic for a second. Please do a show on Buju Banton being jealous of Nigerians' talented Afrobeat music. I'm going to do a show on that. Thank you for the super chat. I definitely will. Buju did express, his side. And, we got South Africans too. I was just listening to them earlier also. They also have their issues complaining about Nigerians. But, we would have all that as well. So let's continue here in this video.
Guinea in West Africa, and forced to walk for 3 months to the sea in a coffin, in line of prisoners chained together with hundreds of strangers and a handful of people from her village. Even before she is placed on the ship, she vows that one day she will return. Yes, we are returning. She actually returned, but we're still returning through the blood, through the prayers of our ancestors. So you're a nurse practitioner, and you think you're better than African Americans, and you call us slaves?
But I think THC is blowing this out of proportion. This woman did not say African Americans are slaves. That's not what she said. We have the video. She called the person who called her prostitute, those two people that she had issues with, that's who those words were directed at. How did this become about all black people? So this action that was done to this woman, every African should be on alert that this is the treatment for every African. Do you guys think that would be reasonable? I mean, like, yeah, I mean, this woman alone, what she said is so painful, and it's taken as it's all African Americans. That's not fair, but here we go.
You get an education and a job off the backs of African Americans. Also,
and how many black people have we heard, even black YouTubers, that call other black people slaves?
Some Africans move to America and get on welfare, SSI, and EBT, just like the slaves you're referring to. Do you bleach your skin like they do here in Africa? Do you do this to gain more acceptance in the white community there? I know this foolish sister who bleaches her skin and says,
So you see, like, that would mean, so THC debunked his own idea about the fullers because he's saying they have natural light skin color. This woman, we don't know her, but we know this is her natural skin color. There's fullers who are light skinned, they look Somali or Ethiopian. They look similar. But fullers, I don't think the fullers would appreciate it if they hear their woman is being accused of skin bleaching. I get it, like, sure, you don't like what she said, but accusing her of bleaching her skin as a tint, guys, that's a bit far. What don't you guys think?
that she's not black, she's a Berber Arab, and that the Mandinkas and other dark-skinned tribes are black, and they are slaves. Do you think this way about your darker-skinned African brothers and sisters? The point is being made here, everyone, is that in order for us to unite, we gotta get rid of this ignorant mindset. The brother was wrong for telling her to go back to Africa. Okay? He shouldn't have said that. She was also wrong for calling him a slave. So, and then she called him an N-word. She done said all kind of other things to her. Whatever had transpired in there, that man had a reason for what he said. She had, to me, and to a lot of people, she spoke out of anger, but that's how she truly feel about African Americans. Now that she got a little status, a little education and job, and now she thinks she's better than the African Americans.
But how does THC know how this woman thinks? So couldn't we say the same thing about the guy who's telling her to go back to Africa, calling her prostitute, all kind of name? Like, couldn't we say that's how these people they feel about Africans? This is how African Americans feel about, Africans. I mean, we don't know what this woman feels or what she thinks. All we know is this guy made her angry and they exchanged words and it wasn't pretty. That's reasonable to think. But here we go.
So know your history. Know your history, Miss Diallo. Know the history of the African Americans who gave their lives for people like myself and for you.
But see, THC ruined it over here. When he put Black Lives Matter and Floyd and all, didn't they say that Floyd thing and Black Lives Matter, they are there to fight for the criminals? Most Africans that this woman, this police reform, I don't think would benefit her. She is into nursing. Like, this will not benefit her. I mean, like, showing Black Lives Matter, like, Black Lives Matter, I read their website. Trust me, it has nothing to do with us Africans. Okay? Doesn't even have much to do with blackness. It has a lot to do with, some letters, but okay.
To have success in America. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Thank you. Hey, shout out to THC, good education, So guys, look, THC is my guy, but I gotta be honest, you guys see he was totally biased in this one. He threw the Fuller woman under the bus and and just, I mean, he just went hard on her, But at the end of the day, man, like, people, I hope you guys have learned a whole bunch of lessons from this. You know, like when people come at you, you have to think about how much do you have to lose. And 9 out of 10 people that behave this way, they don't have much to lose. So if you engage them, you know, you're just gonna end up being like this woman. And hopefully people have learned their lesson here. Anyways, it's over 2 hours. You know, we're coming to the end of the show. I wouldn't open the lines today, but we will do a follow-up tomorrow. First thing, we will do a show and the lines will be open so people can call in. All right? So I will see you guys until next time. I'm Afredamus. Peace.
Baby girl love my bop and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see-through. Hating on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so why I need you? Baby girl love my bop and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see-through. Hating on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so why I need you? Big flex, my swole up, double cup and I'm pulled up. Niggas hating like hold up, what's the problem?